The first week of the NFL's longest season ever is finally happening this week. And our 13-time NFL champion Green Bay Packers start off in the road, not in New Orleans, but in Jacksonville, but against the Saints. We'll talk about that and more all on this episode of your Packers Fan Podcast.
Greetings, Packers Fan Podcast listeners. I'm Scott Clark from The Gaming Outsider, and it feels so good to legitimately ask, are you ready for some football? I'm so happy to be here with one of the most dedicated Packers fans I know to chat each week about the green and gold. Let's do this.
And me, I'm Wayne Henderson from MediaVoiceovers.com, and let me say yes, as a matter of fact, I am ready for some football, and the wait is almost over. On this 229th edition of your Packers Fan Podcast, we're going to talk about some of the recent happenings with your Green Bay Packers, share some of your epic feedback that came in on the listener voicemail line at 920-3-PACK-GO, as well as by email and in our Facebook Packers Fan Podcast community group.
We also have a game to preview finally. The Packers at Saints is the topic of discussion for sure, and I've got my keys to a Packers victory in New Orleans. Well, I mean Jacksonville.
It's happening.
So we don't have a game to review. We got a game to preview for sure. So we don't that'll be next week when we get to see and the results of the Packers Saints game. But we do want to talk about the 53-man roster. There's lots of things that happened over the last week or so. The big one that stood out to me was Kurt Benkert being released. We saw him in preseason, and I was pretty impressed with some of the things he did, but it looks like it will only be Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love on the roster currently. How do you feel about that, Wayne?
Well, it always drives me a little bit bonkers when I find out we only have, one backup quarterback that's going to be suited up just in case. But the Packers do this a lot, and I guess Kurt Benkert made it back to the practice squad, so he'll be there in an emergency, just not in an ultra emergency. And I'm looking forward to seeing Jordan Love actually wearing a Packers uniform on the sidelines of an actual game, just in case.
Instead of that red Target one that they wear during practice games that you're talking about?
That, or not even suited up at all last year. So
yeah, true. Also, I thought it was interesting to note that Aaron Rodgers is the first player in Packers history to make the starting lineup 17 years in a row.
Really?
It's even more than Brett Favre. Yeah.
First ever?
First ever.
Hey, props, Aaron Rodgers. I'm glad you made the cut.
Kylan Hill, that rookie running back we picked up, has taken the RB3 position, and that marks the 24th season in a row that the Packers haven't released a rookie running back they drafted before the start of the season. I thought that was pretty cool to note. Also, Elgton Jenkins will be at right guard for at least the first 6 games while Bakhtiari is injured. Defensive lineman Jack Heflin marks the 17th consecutive season that the team started an undrafted rookie during week 1.
Woo.
All kinds of cool stuff happening here. We also claimed Chancery Rivers, a linebacker off of waivers from the Ravens. After his performance against the Bills in preseason, he had 2 quarterback hits and a sack on Josh Allen for a 10-yard loss, so that's probably why he made the starting squad. There's actually 10 linebackers on the starting roster, which is the most since 2014 when they only had 11. So I thought that was pretty cool. Also of news, this is a negative one, but Jace Sternberger unfortunately will not be playing for the first couple weeks. He was suspended for substance abuse, so we're down 1 target for the first 2 weeks, which includes the Saints game.
Oh boy. Hang in there, guys. And like you mentioned earlier, David Bakhtiari being kept on the PUP list, likely for the first 6 games. That's not good news at all. I was hoping he'd be there for all 17 of these glorious games. But, Scott, if we can make do with him away and then get him back for the big playoff push, then in the end, it'll be worth it. I'm still a little nervous, though. I admit it. How about you?
Playoffs?
Well,
don't talk to me about playoffs.
You know me. I'm ready.
So we had some pretty interesting things happening this week as well. Al Harris and Charles Woodson have both been inducted into the Packers Hall of Fame. If you remember, Al Harris came to Green Bay in 2003, Woodson 3 years later in 2006. I thought this was really cool because those two were a beast to watch when they were at defense. And I thought it made me think of, our current squad. Could Jair Alexander and rookie Eric Stokes be the next dynamic duo to replace those guys? I mean, I know it's been a long time, but to see them kind of fill in those shoes and, take some advice and mentor from those guys, that would be pretty cool.
I'm hoping so. Let me tell you, Scott, I'm looking forward to that kind of action this year.
I'm just excited all around, man. I mean, I keep looking at some of the players as I was going through making notes for this episode, and we've just got so many players that are star players or very high in terms of where they position themselves in the rest of the NFL. We've got one of the best quarterbacks in the league. We got one of the best receivers in the league. We've got one of the best
running
pass
backs
rushers in the league. One of the best running backs in the league. I mean, we just have one of the best corners in the league. I mean, we just have a very well-rounded squad where I know in past years we focused so much just on the passing game. We really could be a formidable force this year, and fingers crossed that does happen. But that's what we think about everything. Let's get some listener feedback. Just as a reminder, we do have a voicemail line, which you can reach at 920-3PACK-GO, or you can send your voice messages to feedback@PackersFanPodcast.com. Just make sure that you get it to us by midnight on Sunday, because obviously that's when the game is, and we want to have time for Wayne to be able to prep that information to get into the show for sure.
Yes, and with the season finally happening, we want to hear your thoughts on the game after we beat the Saints, and of course, all throughout this 17-game regular season and beyond.
Go, Pack, go! Go, Pack, go! What's up, Wayne and Scott? It's Jared here in Colorado. Don't really have a whole lot to say today. I just wanted to call in and really just share how I'm excited, man. I'm really excited for a new season of Packers football. Really excited for the regular season. Like I mentioned in the Facebook group, I'm not too concerned about the preseason performances. Like I said, we pretty much had a bunch of backups and backups to the backups playing against mostly starters through the whole preseason. So wasn't too worried about that. I think the Packers will be just fine during the regular season. Still am concerned about special teams. It's definitely something that I think still stuck out in the preseason despite, not having starters playing. Although it is an interesting day to be more worried about special teams than I am about defense when we're talking about the Packers. So, and also really cool that the running game that was established under Matt LaFleur has continued to flourish, and I think it will continue to do so as we move forward. So that's it. Don't have a whole lot to say. Really excited to see the Packers beat the Saints in week 1, and yeah, let's have another awesome season of Packers football and see if we could finally get over that hump with after the NFC Championship game and bring the trophy back home to Lambeau. So thanks a lot for the podcast, guys. It's been a really awesome shred of light in what was otherwise a pretty rough year, I think, for a lot of people last year. And, obviously 2021 is better in some ways, but still a struggle in others. So thank you for providing a really awesome space to smile and laugh and just come together to enjoy the Packers. So have a good one, guys. Go Pack, go. Green and gold till dead and cold.
Thank you so much, Jared, for your voicemail. And for your kind words about the podcast and the Packers Community Facebook group. I love that our first voicemail of the official season is not from Green Bay country. It's from Colorado. I love that we've got listeners and fans of the Packers all over the country and all over the world, really, if you think about it.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for the upcoming season as well, Jared. It is strange that we have such concerns for special teams. I feel like that's been a bright spot for us for so many years, but the last couple seasons it's just been a little shaky. We're more or less worried about the defense, and that's interesting. Also excited about the running game. We have a running game. It's really great to see, and I'm especially hopeful for a Super Bowl win, not just because I'm a Packers fan. I want my team to win, but we have to kind of assume that this is going to be Aaron Rodgers' last season. And if that is the case, I would really like to see him go out on top. I think he wants it more than anybody at this point, but what a way to go out. And who knows, hopefully I'm wrong and it's not his last season. But what are your thoughts on that, Wayne?
I do think this is going to be Aaron's last season, but the guy, like we heard from Mark Murphy, he's a complicated guy. So anything could really happen. But like Jared said in his voicemail, the running game is flourishing under LaFleur. So could we say it is love flourishing?
Oh, boy. Starts already. Come on, man.
Sorry, Jared. I could not resist. But yes, and the Super Bowl being in L.A., it's going to be nice. Tickets are way out of range already, but we don't even know who's playing in it. So anyway, we want to hear your calls as well after the game. Again, 920-3PACK-GO. And in our weekly poll in our Facebook group at PackersCommunity.com, as well as on Twitter at Packers Fan Pod, just wanted to throw it out there and see how everybody was feeling. How do you think the 13-time NFL champion Green Bay Packers will do against the Saints on Sunday? Will the Packers win by 11 or more points? Will we win by 7 to 10 points? Or will we win by 6 or fewer points? And of course, Scott and I will have our predictions later in our full preview of the episode. But the listeners basically said 17% voted think it's going to be a big victory, 11 or more. What do you think about that?
I mean, I would hope so. I really would love to come out the gate swinging, but I think that this game is going to be a little tighter than a lot of people are expecting. Yeah.
Maybe because it's week one, and we don't know if we're going to be rusty or not. Or
week one, and I still think Kamara is a formidable force, especially against our team. But I'll get to that in our keys to victory in a little bit.
Okay.
Looks like 68% said that the Packers will win by between 7 and 10 points, and 15% will win. The Packers will win by 6 or fewer points. Thankfully, there were no write-in votes that the Packers will lose. So Wayne is rubbing off on our listeners, apparently.
Don't even think of that other option.
So what do you think? Where you landed on this one, without giving away your actual score, which we'll talk about soon?
I think we're going to win, and I'll give you the details later.
All right. I think we're going to win, too, and we'll give our details a little bit later. I want to share with you some comments from our Packers Fan Podcast Facebook community group, which you can find over at PackersCommunity.com. In honor of Al Harris being inducted into the Packers Hall of Fame, Jacob shared a brilliant video clip of Al taking care of Matt Hasselbeck's "We want the ball and we're going to score" vow, which I watched multiple times. And that was, man, what a great play that was. It was so good. Never gets old whatsoever.
It never does. That's in one of the top 20 Packers moments of all time, and possibly top 10, because just the audio picking it all up, it was fabulous. Also in the Facebook community group, I had to share this really cool picture. I think it's from Packers.com of Charles Woodson admiring his new Packers Hall of Fame exhibit.
Just looking on with pride.
A lot of other cool stuff going on in the group. And of course, on game days, we do have a live discussion thread that we'll have up prior to the game so that we can chat about the game, the good, any bad or ugly. We'll talk about it there as the game goes on. We also got some emails. We heard from Stephen Vahiran. Big game news. Thanks to Hurricane Ida, the NFL moved Packers and Saints out of New Orleans and moved the game to Jacksonville. The last time the Packers opened the season in Jacksonville was in 2016. And of course, I assume that was against the Jaguars that time.
Right.
You never know. Whenever it involves New Orleans, those poor guys, man. Since the Saints have been practicing in the home of Dallas Cowboys, I was confused why they decided to move the game to Jacksonville and not Dallas. Because I know Jerry Jones had offered up the stadium, but I guess there's a concert coming up, and it's written in the band's contract that they get full access to the stadium a certain number of days before the concert. Yada, yada, yada. The NFL is a much bigger draw than concerts. I think they should have overrid that. But whatever. To Jacksonville we go. Steven says, living in the Chicago area, the big body of water is Lake Michigan, not the ocean, so we don't have hurricanes. Wayne, did you have any hurricanes in your area? No, not in Southern California. We do not. We have kind of the opposite of hurricanes. We have a lot of firestorms, smoke, ash, ugly stuff like that. And the heat. My gosh, the heat. Anyways, back to Steven's email. Now it's time to see the regular season begin the day after the 20th anniversary of September 11th attacks back in 2001. And first up for the Green Bay Packers is the Saints. Since none of the starters really played in preseason, how do you think the Packers will do? I am going to suspect they're going to be rusty. I'm predicting the Packers will win by 1 point.
Wow.
The Heart Attack Pack week 1, Steven? Oh my gosh, I don't know if I could take it. Wayne and Scott, when you give your predictions for the game this season, you should give how many points you think the score will be, like before the Packers start giving up the garbage points, because I'm sure they'll be doing plenty of that this season. Oh, Steven, that's going to be way too complicated. But here's hoping that with our new defensive coordinator, the giving up garbage points, as I like to call it, hopefully that will be lessened or eliminated. And Steven wraps up saying, I think that Andre in LA's Go Pack Goes should be played on the sound system at Lambeau Field to shake the whole thing. That's a
good call.
plan.
I like it. Let's make that happen.
That, I think, should definitely happen. And Steven's birthday is coming up on Tuesday the 7th, so happy birthday, Steven. He's checking out for now because I guess he's getting ready for his birthday. Go Pack Go.
Go Pack Go. Thanks, Steven, for the email. We got another one that says, hey, Wayne and Scott, this is Caleb, Kathy, and Roy Fisher from Titletown, USA, also known as Green Bay, Wisconsin. First off, we can finally say it's time for football. Heck yes, I'm so excited for football. Can't wait to see how the Packers do the first game of the season against the Saints. Although we lost all 3 preseason games, we all believe we will be ready and can't wait to see Aaron Rodgers and the offense on the field. Hopefully we can have a good defense. Well, Packers family, this is CCR saying go Pack Go, bleed green and gold till dead and cold. Thank you very much, CCR, for that email. I will agree with you on the preseason games, or I will add to your comment about the preseason games. Preseason means nothing, guys. We're not playing with our full team. That is tryout season. That's all that is, and they're working out the kinks before the big guns come on week 1. So, yeah, when's the last time we won all 3 preseason games? It just doesn't matter.
I don't know if we ever did, even when we had 4. I have no clue.
Yeah. As always, thank you for all your calls, emails, comments, and support. If you would like to join the Packers fan Facebook community and be part of the conversation, just a reminder once again, head over to packerscommunity.com, especially on game day for our live game discussion thread.
Yeah, you only have to answer 3 super easy questions, so we know you're not some Chicago Bears fan trying to deal the Delta COVID variant upon the group. So we just got to keep it safe in there. And now, finally, your 13-time NFL champion Green Bay Packers are opening this season in Jacksonville, Florida to play the New Orleans Saints Sunday, September 12th at 3:25 p.m. Central. All time in the series, the Packers lead the series. What a shocker. We lead the series 17-9. And what's interesting is how the Saints began in the NFL in 1967, and the Saints then signed a couple of Green Bay's starters from that time period, Paul Hornung and Jim Taylor. I didn't even know that.
I didn't know that either.
And fortunately, neither of them had to play against the Packers while they were Saints. That's 2 thumbs up for that. The first Packers-Saints game was in 1968. It was a 29-7 Packers victory while they played in Milwaukee. And, of course, we're praying for everybody in Louisiana up and down the coast dealing with all of that storm damage, the flooding. Oh, what a mess.
Yes, it's awful.
And since the game isn't going to be played indoors at the Superdome after all, weather might actually be a factor. It's going to be sunny with a high of around 88 degrees at kickoff.
88. Oh, my goodness. That's really warm.
So watch out for the hamstrings and hydrate, Packers players. Hydrate. That's a bonus little key to victory. What are in the official Scott's keys to a Packers victory over the Saints?
Well, I've actually got 4 of them this week, Wayne, so
Woo!
Buckle in. First off, number 1, take advantage of the absence of Drew Brees. It's no secret that number 9 was a powerhouse for the Saints for so many years. So with Jameis Winston under center, it's time for Green Bay to take advantage of the new era of the Saints. Although he's a decent player, he's no Mr. Brees. I see the Packers secondary dominating downfield. Where the Packers really should focus is in the backfield with throws to Kamara, something they struggled with the last time they played against one another. If they get that under control, the passing game should be very well contained for week 1. Number 2, get to Winston often. The Packers' defensive line didn't lose many starters, which is a definite advantage that should be exploited. Zadarius Smith was in the top 10 for quarterback rushing last season, and I'm hoping to see him within the top 5 this year. The veterans in the D-line should make things very difficult for Winston, especially since he's not nearly as good at getting the ball out as quickly as Brees was. I'd like to see him on his back multiple times this game, which would be vital to getting the ball back in Green Bay's hands. Number 3, let Aaron Rodgers be Aaron Rodgers. AR-12 put a bad taste in the mouths of many Packers fans during the offseason, but it's hard to argue with his natural ability and leadership skills. The Pack should rally behind his offense, which, as I say this almost every game, should be spread all over the place when he's passing. One of the most frustrating things to watch last year was so many balls thrown to Adams and only Adams. Get that ball all over the place, confuse the defense. Although Sternberger is out of the game, there are still so many available targets for our MVP, and keeping the Saints secondary guessing will be key to racking up points fast and early. As much as I'd like to see the Packers' run game, I think the passing game will be the focus here, especially since the Saints' defense held ball carriers to under 4 yards per carry last season. Lastly, and most importantly, have fun. Nothing makes Packers games more enjoyable than watching Aaron Rodgers with that giant smile on his face. Morale is a big deal when it comes to winning a game, and I'd like to see the Packers enjoying themselves while at work. Not too much fun to avoid good focus, but just enough to keep the team working as a unit, putting up points, and quieting the New Orleans fans. And there you go.
I love those. I love it, Scott. Thank you for digging into those. And yeah, Aaron Rodgers having fun, that alone will spread throughout the stadium of all the Packers players and fans. So I'm looking forward to it. It's the Fox game of the week in most areas for the middle of the day game, except for our friends in Europe and Australia and other countries. It'll be a late evening game, but not as late as Sunday night and Monday night and Thursday night football. So
true.
We all get to see it. How do we think it's going to go down, Scott?
But I think it's going to be a little bit lower scoring game. First week of the season, still working out some of the kinks, and some of the starters haven't been playing in actual games, preseason games. So I think it's going to be a little bit not as high scoring as we would like to see. But I still think the Packers are going to come out on top by 4. Packers 24, Saints 20.
I do think the Packers are going to win as well. I wanted to guess an even higher score, but I'm trying to be realistic. I'm going to say Packers 28, Saints 17.
All right.
So, of course,
what's going to happen this season with our wager of fun, Wayne?
Well, I figured we could just have Scott sing Talk Like a Fan again, because that was a huge hit.
Oh,
that was fabulous.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, you all remember Scott's brilliant edition of that from last season. And once COVID is over, I'm going to make it out to Illinois with my Packers Henderson jersey in hand for Scott to wear while I enjoy my Culver's burger and cheese curds on his dime.
Yes.
But now for this epic 17-game season, which could change the math a little bit.
Definitely.
In the end. It might take me longer to clinch. I don't know. Sorry. If Scott loses by not picking the Packers games as correctly as me, he has to watch a couple of seasons of Doctor Who with me.
Seasons?
Okay, not a couple of seasons. Just a couple of hand-picked episodes. Because, Scott, Doctor Who's one of those things you've never really watched, but I keep suggesting it, right?
That is correct. I don't know why. I tried watching the original 60s version because I'm like, when I watch a television show, I have to watch it from the beginning.
Oh, my.
And those, even those episodes just don't really explain to you what's going on, and I just never got into it. I will say I have watched one full episode of the newer version. I saw the Vincent van Gogh episode, but It's been, 7-8 years since I've seen it. I don't even remember, but I remember really enjoying it. So this would push me over the edge and actually make me do it. Plus, we can watch it together, and get my reactions from watching it for the first time. So that would be fun.
Yeah, maybe we could even stream it or record it for YouTube or Twitch so the listeners could sync up their Doctor Who episodes and watch on their own and listen to us talk about it while we watch. And we want to thank superfan Aaron for planting the seed of this idea.
Aaron's original idea was to make me watch Maximum Overdrive, which, you're a big Stephen King fan, and I've never seen that movie. So why did you decide to steer away from that?
I don't want to have to watch that again.
So it'd be just as much torture for you as it is for me?
Yeah, or Under the Dome, Yeah, no.
Oh, my goodness.
No,
that was...
Watch something that will be enjoyable, and I'm sharing the blessings of Doctor Who with you that way.
Absolutely. And if Wayne loses, for the first time since I joined this podcast a little over 2 years ago, if Wayne loses, he will have to play Madden NFL football with me online, live on Twitch for you all to watch me decimate him. I guess we'll have to play Packers versus Packers.
Oh, wow.
But it will be a lot of fun watching Wayne try to fumble through the controls of an Xbox game with me, and I'm really rooting for this to happen because I think everybody would get a kick out of watching you because you've never played a Madden game before, right?
Maybe Madden 1995 or something, and I was terrible then.
That's going to be hilarious, man. Madden's gotten a lot more complicated since then.
You think? I'm not very good with gaming controllers. Okay, so I'm gonna if it's looking like it may go that direction, I'm gonna have to do a crash course, get some training, and then we'll figure out what edition of Madden and how we can do it. But so yeah, the last time I tried to play anything on like an Xbox or PlayStation, like you said, decimated. That's probably the best word to describe how it all went down.
Well, to your benefit, I'm not very good at Madden, so it could be interesting.
He says,
maybe it'll be an upset, man. Who knows? Who knows?
That'd be amazing. So currently in our Wager O Fund for the 2021 season, we are tied 0-0, or as they say when referring to soccer on Ted Lasso, 0-0.
0-0. And if you're not watching Ted Lasso, you need to remedy that as soon as possible. What a glorious piece of television show.
So well done. Did you see this week's episode yet?
No, I'm actually not caught up. I'm still trying to catch up because I was holding off watching because I wanted to watch the first season with my wife. And for whatever reason, I cannot figure out how to get Apple TV on my actual television. I have to watch it on my phone. So,
oh, wow.
And obviously I can't watch it with my wife on my phone. So I'm going to have to look into that. And I wanted to rewatch the first season with her and then watch the second season with her because I think she would really like it. But like you said, Wayne, we are both undefeated at this point. Woo-hoo! So we'll have to see what goes on with the next week of football, man.
Yeah, here's the current standings. Speaking of standings, in the NFC North, the Packers are in first place with a record of 0-0. The Vikings, Bears, and Lions are all tied for last place with a record of 0-0.
I love that you put the Packers in first place. It just cracks me. I mean, I guess that technically we won the division, right?
Exactly why they're number one, for no other reason than that.
There you go. There you go. Some other NFL happenings. This one stood out to me just because I've got this player on my fantasy football team in a different league, but Ryan Tannehill has been cleared to play after being put on the COVID list. So he is active and looks like he will be playing week 1. But that brings a question, something we haven't really talked about in the NFL yet this year is, how is this pandemic going to affect games this season? I don't even know. Are we playing to full capacity with fans? Are they doing social distancing again like they did in the past? I don't even know.
I think all teams are playing with full capacity this season. At least that's the plan right now.
All right.
I think it's going to be just fine.
I hope so.
At this point, what else can they do? I mean, even the Canadian Football League, who didn't have a season at all last year, they just put the whole thing on the shelf. They're having a season. They're doing socially distancing or not selling enough tickets. I don't know which. But the NFL is planning on full houses. So this is going to be interesting, especially, next week, the following week, when we are previewing the Lions at Packers home opener on Monday Night Football.
We'll finally get that full crowd in there with that noise that we love.
It's going to be amazing. My son and my daughter and their spouses, they're all going up to Lambeau, going to that Monday Night Football game. They're going to stay at the Lodge Kohler and some other activities because 2 of them, my son-in-law and my daughter-in-law, have never been to Lambeau ever.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. I have to share some pictures. That'll be really cool. It's also going to be interesting to see if they have any kind of requirements to get into stadiums because I went to a concert for the first time last week and full capacity, no socially distancing in the stands, but they did require us to show a vaccination card at the gate in order to get in. They didn't compare it to a driver's license. They didn't look at the names to make sure that they matched up. So really they even let you have a picture of it on your phone if you wanted. So I guess people could just take a picture of somebody else's vaccination card and go, I don't know. It's interesting, but.
Oh my goodness. Did you stay out of the mosh pit?
There was no mosh pit.
What kind of concert is this? No mosh pit.
I was in a seat, an actual, it was in Milwaukee. And there was some general admission seats up top, but there wasn't even any moshing there. Everyone was really just focused on seeing Green Day was the band that I went to see, which is one of my favorite bands from my childhood. And there was some movement, but definitely no mosh pits. It was not a metal concert this time.
Oh, okay. Well, you never know. Maybe next time. And now, just briefly, let me share this with you. Something new and exciting going on as far as I'm concerned with the Packers Fan Podcast. It's new and exciting as of 2021 anyway. Prepare to have your eyes glaze over just a little bit and just briefly. Because if you're on the techie side of things and want to get in on the ground floor of a unique way of supporting some of your favorite podcasts, like the Packers Fan Podcast, the show by and for fans of your 13-time NFL champion Green Bay Packers. And we certainly hope that the Packers Fan Podcast is one of those favorites. You can financially donate extremely small amounts of Bitcoin, called Satoshis, automatically as you listen to these podcasts if you're signed up through one of the new modern podcasting 2.0 apps. We'll have a full list of the apps at newpodcastapps.com. There's about 20 so far. Personally, I'm using the Fountain app. It seems to be the slickest, easiest to use. There's more coming out all the time. And in addition to then loading up your wallet, bringing in just a small amount of Satoshis that can go out, there's all other things coming as well, as far as like changing album art. There are some podcasts that they'll have like 20 slides. It'll be like a PowerPoint presentation while you're listening. Lots of other stuff like that. Anyway, more details, more apps, and hopefully more simplicity coming soon. Go to newpodcastapps.com. Pick out one of those if you want to get in on the ground floor and get extra geeky, because even though I've been podcasting for 16 years, it took me like a full weekend to finally get it working right. And the Packers Fan Podcast has received over 67 cents worth of Satoshis already.
Bring it on, man.
Yeah, so there you go.
Well, and it's no secret that you guys hear me talk about it all the time on this show that I love to play video games. So much, in fact, that I have my own podcast dedicated to my favorite hobby. It's called The Gaming Outsider, where we chat about video games for a couple hours each week. And this week, we're answering questions from our community about video games or whatever random topics they'd like us to talk about. If you'd like to hear your question read on that show, be sure to join our social media outlets on Facebook and Twitter. You can find them both under the handle TheGoCast. And also our website is thegamingoutsider.com. I would love it if you guys checked out the podcast. We are on our 362nd episode. Been doing it for quite a while, and we're still going strong.
Nice. That is a lot of gaming talk. That's good stuff, Scott.
Mm-hmm.
And wouldn't you be blown away if, by some chance, you win the Wager of Fun this year and I need to play Madden, that I've been a ringer this entire time? Just talking about Pokemon Go
amazing.
and Wizards Unite, and all of a sudden I just come in and
it would make my day.
Oh, man, you can hear those chants already starting at Lambeau Field for Aaron Rodgers, or maybe Devontae Adams, or maybe Aaron Jones. Who's the Packers MVP and NFL MVP this year? To be determined. But we do know who the Packers Fan Podcast MVPs are that support us with the value for value model here at the show. Details via Patreon. You've heard us talk about it before. It's at patreon.com/Packers Fan Podcast. Everything you pledge goes back into the show in one way or another. And Jim Ringo, one of many Packers legends, would be proud of the amazing Patreon support at the level he inspired. Go Pack Go to you, Mr. Dan Dyler, for your pledges. And thank you for your special outro we'll share again at the end of the podcast. It's a new Packers Fan Podcast tradition. And coming in hot, supporting your Packers Fan Podcast at the classic Willie Wood level, it's listener Bryant. Can I get a Go Pack Go?
Go Pack Go.
Oh, thank you, sir. And with Iron Man attitude, it's Go Pack Go time for our Brett Favre level Patreon supporters, Jeff Summerfield, Andre in LA, Colin Nolan in Ireland, Miguel Ramirez from the Opposites Attract podcast, and Lawrence Harvey. Go Pack Go.
And at the Curly Lambeau founder level, Go Pack goes to these fine folks: Hank Davis from the TPE Network of Podcasts, Beth Mentink, Joe Christensen, and Matt Haig. Thanks again for all of your support. Again, we invite you to check out all the levels and possible rewards at patreon.com/Packers Fan Podcast. As a reminder, we are the Unofficial Packers Fan Podcast, not yet affiliated with the NFL or the Green Bay Packers, but we would love for that to happen. If you guys are listening, we would love for that to happen. Please follow the Packers Fan Podcast where you tend to listen to your podcast and share with your friends.
Also, please follow us on Twitter, okay? Thanks. Here's where: at Packers Fan Pod, at GoCastScott, and at Wayne Henderson. And to help amp us up for Sunday's big game, which was going to be in New Orleans, but is now in Jacksonville, here's Packers Fan Podcast Patreon supporter Dan Dyler to make it happen.
Hey, Packers Fan Podcast listeners, this is your cheesehead from Indianapolis, Dan, and I have just two words for you. Go, 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 Pack, go!